Alright, we're back. So, really wanting some coffee right now. Sun's coming up, it's great. By the way, to my right, over there, is east. So you'll see that side of my face getting brighter and brighter as the sun comes up. At any rate, we were talking about how I got kind of angry at people that had given me a hard time when I realized how easy it was for them. But that's only in a comparative way. They face challenges I don't think I'd want to face. Just like I face challenges I know they wouldn't want to face. But that began a whole learning process for myself. And unfortunately, my ex started a demonization campaign of me. Oh, I think I forgot to mention. I was diagnosed in '02, and a month after I was diagnosed, at my now ex-wife's beckoning, a month after I was diagnosed, she told me she wanted a divorce. So, go figure that one out. There's a lot behind it, I understand, but I'm not going to publicize that. That's kind of involves her personal life, which she's not a part of this, so I'm not going to start throwing mud in that direction. But anyways, she did start a demonization campaign on me for whatever her reasons were. And it led to, after about 3 years, it led to my daughter's exiting stage left out of Dad's life. And that was about 4 years ago. Tough times. My daughters were my world. I was fortunate enough to be a stay-at-home dad for the first 8 years of their lives, and we had a very special bond and a very special connection that between my ex's efforts and my illness gave me pretty strong motivation to kind of leave Dad alone. Currently, I've got one daughter who very recently decided to have Dad in her life again, and that's working out really well. I've got another daughter who, I don't know, I'm not really going to make any statements of where she's at. She's still living with her mom. Recently moved out of state, and I think she's struggling, you know. But when we're young, we all struggle to one extent or another, and we each have our own path. So I'm hoping at the end of the day, she'll find the right way for her. But anyway, the unfortunate part is, and it became very clear with my daughter that decided to have her dad in her life again, what became really clear was that the importance of that learning process I went through that she wasn't a part of. She had exited the stage before the real deep learning took place about the illness and how it functions and what I can do with it and how ugly it can get. The stress of divorce and selling off properties and custody battles and dating. Oh my dear Lord. Yeah, that was fun. All of those stresses had a devastating effect on my bipolar, and I basically shifted from, I don't know, 3 or 4 swings a year to 3 or 4 swings, a month. And my manias got really bad. So that was kind of challenging. And that was devastating to my daughters. And I can't blame them. And I didn't have much to offer. I'm still trying to figure things out myself. Everything that I'd been used to for the years prior to that was shifting and changing, and I just couldn't keep up with it. Keeping up with divorce proceedings and keeping up with custody hearings and keeping up with, jobs and moving and selling a home and just everything. And then you're supposed to keep on top of bipolar on top of that. It wasn't working. And so, something had to give. And it did. In a big way. And just as I was starting to get stabilized from that, a surrogate daughter of mine I loved very much, right before her 9th birthday, passed away from a massive asthma attack. That really put the nail in the coffin for me for the 3 out of the 4 years my daughters were around. That was hard. And maybe I'll talk about that in more detail another time, but not today. So anyways, the learning curve. Unfortunately, something I've come to realize is that's a learning process that a lot of people with mental illness haven't gone through. They don't know how. I don't know how I knew how. I mean, I really didn't. I just kept pushing, kept reading, kept studying, kept tracking who I was, where I was at, what was going on, cause and effect type studying of myself. And which of course leads to a certain level of self-absorption, which, I'm doing better with now, but I still struggle with a little bit. But at any rate, that's what's going on with that. So I guess a big part of what loved ones can do for those people in your life with a mental illness is help them go through that learning process. And for each illness, I think it's a little different. For bipolar, a huge step forward for me was being able to identify what was the bipolar and what was me, or at least give it my best guess. When you can separate yourself from the illness, that's huge. And a lot of people struggle with that. And there's a lot of guilt that comes along with it. You're in a depression and you don't do anything. You just suck the life out of the people around you who do support you until they either leave or leave temporarily or permanently. Or they get angry with you or whatever. And you feel guilty about that. And if you're in a mania, you're hard on people. You're rude. You're whatever your mania looks like. When you come out of that mania and you got to go back and clean up the mess you caused, you feel guilty about that. So you really have to look at it and realize, okay, how much of that is me and how much of that is a mania? Well, not just mania, but bipolar. Separating yourself from the illness. That's huge. And it takes other people around you to help you go through and be accurate with it. You need to double check. So loved ones, encourage your people in your life to, go through that process. It's a huge first step, and it opens up all kinds of other doors for possibilities of growth that, yourself or the person with the illness didn't even think possible. So that's, kind of step number, it's within the first 5. I mean, you have to understand the illness itself. You have to get your medications right if that's a path you decide to take. Medication doesn't fix it. It just makes the illness more manageable. If you're trying to take medication in order to completely remove all the symptoms of the illness, you're going to end up with a walking zombie around you. You're going to be a walking zombie if you're the person taking the meds. So don't do that. Don't let the psychiatrist talk you into that. Find a good med and take just enough of it where it gives you a fighting chance against the illness to be able to do what you need to do. Any more than that, and you're not at your best, period. I'm a firm believer in that. Firm believer, since the subject of meds, I've got about 30 seconds and then I've got to go on to the next one. So we'll continue the medication talk on this next segment.